To the latest episode of the SCU Show. I'm your host, SCU. If things look a little different, it's because I do not have a tripod to hold my camera this week. I forgot at a friend's house and I went to a barbecue, and therefore I'm holding my camera myself, and that's why, again, a little weird angle, but we still have the same great content here on the SCU Show. I think it's going to be a pretty good show. I hope so. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. Let's get started. We have to talk about the WNBA. We're going to talk about the NBA bubble. Really, it's different. It looks the same. Everything looks like they've obviously the NBA has made it work. I think everybody could agree with that. But at the same time, it's kind of, when I've watched it, first thing I saw when I was watching the Lakers Clippers game, because I didn't watch the first game, the Pelicans and Jazz. I was watching the Lakers and Clippers game, and I was thinking, this just feels so different because I didn't hear the crowd noise. But then I started watching more games, and I saw more, and I heard more of the crowd noise, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't as different as I thought it would be. But really, the whole thing about the NBA bubble is that it's working not just because they made it work with the crowd noise and everything. These games are very exciting, so they really did a good job when it comes to the scheduling. Very good game so far. You had the Rockets and the Bucs. We'll get to that. You had the Lakers beat the Clippers. You had the Raptors beat the Lakers. We'll get to that in a moment. So really, you're just seeing a lot. Last night, this was reported again on a Wednesday. Tuesday night, Devin Booker hit a buzzer beater to the Suns, beat the Clippers. So you're having some pretty damn good games. You have the Pelicans beat the Grizzlies, so they're stepping closer to the Western Conference final spot. A lot of good stuff there in the bubble. But there are two things that I saw since the bubble started that I'm like, wow, I've been right. I was right. The first thing is that the Bucs, that's not my championship team. That's not my Eastern Conference champion. The Bucs lost. As it stands right now, the Bucs are 0-2 in the bubble right now. They've lost to Toronto. Hold on 1 sec. Here we go. All right, so here we go. Here, first one is the Milwaukee blew an 8-point lead with a couple minutes left against the Rockets. That was the game we talked about earlier beforehand. They lost a 8-point lead. They were up by 8 by like minute, maybe 2 minutes left against the Rockets, and then they wound up losing that game. And then just last night, again, this podcast has been recorded on a Wednesday. Tuesday night, the Bucs, lost to the Nets. That's without Kyrie Irving. That's without KD. That's without any of their stars. The Bucs still lost to the Nets. They are now 0-2 in the bubble. And that just goes to show that I've been telling everybody that the Milwaukee Bucks, they're just not good enough to win an NBA championship. I don't think they're good enough to win the Eastern Conference at this point. I would have Toronto over them. We'll get to Toronto in a second. I would have Miami over them, and obviously Boston is definitely, as of right now, the first or second best team in the Eastern Conference. Milwaukee, they're probably about fourth. I wouldn't even keep them in my top there. I would have Miami over them. As when it comes to the Eastern Conference, I think Miami is a better team than the Milwaukee Bucks. They have more around them. All Milwaukee has is Giannis. That's it. He has Chris Middleton, but he struggles in the playoffs. We saw that last year. And I think we're going to see the same thing again this year. We're going to see the Bucks be knocked out in the first, maybe second round. But they're not a team that I'm picking to go to the NBA Finals. I'm not. And the second thing I thought I got right when it comes to the bubble, Toronto's damn good. They are really good. That's a team that could win a championship here in the NBA. Again, they won it last year, obviously, behind Nick Nurse and obviously Fred VanVleet. They have Pascal. They got Marc Gasol. They got Kyle Lowry. They got a great team. They have an absolute great team, and they pulled off some great wins here in the bubble. They beat the Lakers a few nights ago, so that was a big thing. And they're still kicking butt here in the bubble. And they have the Coach of the Year. Co-Coach of the Year, I think it was. Nick Nurse was one of the coaches that got nominated for Coach of the Year, and there was like a tie with him and somebody else or a few other people. But anyway, I think that the Raptors, that's a really great team. They could definitely get to the NBA Finals. I could see them taking Boston to 7 and perhaps beating them. I mean, who knows, It all depends on the health of the Celtics and the health of the Raptors, who's there when the time comes. But I think it would be foolish not to have the Bucks and the Raptors and Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals at this point. Kind of like how everybody has the Lakers and the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. The Raptors, that's a championship caliber team, absolutely. There is no question about it in my mind. All right, so that's enough with the NBA talk. Let's get to the NFL, because this is very interesting. we talked so much about Trevor Lawrence and how Trevor Lawrence was like, oh, he's going to Jacksonville. There's no real question about it. Well, me and my friends were talking about this, and I thought it was very interesting. Trevor Lawrence, the Patriots. It's about the Patriots. New England has 13 draft picks in this upcoming draft. They have 13 picks. And I thought to myself, well, maybe it wouldn't be too crazy if they went and got Trevor Lawrence. It could happen, especially with... The only reason I had New England doing well this year overall was because of that defense that they had. They had so many great pieces on the defense. Now that everybody on the defense is opting out. You had Patrick Chung opt out, and a few other guys. Dante Hightower is another key piece to that defense that was opting out. And so I was thinking, wow, maybe New England's not going to be as good as we thought. Obviously, they don't have much on offense besides Cam Newton and Julian Edelman. But that's no Aaron Rodgers and, Avante Adams. We'll get to that in another show. That's no great duo that's going to do great things this year. Just not going to happen. So when it comes to New England, I thought to myself, well, they do have 13 draft picks. And at this point, they might as well be a top 10 team. And so I thought to myself, and me and my friends were talking about this, why not, no, I'm not saying they tank, because nobody's going to tank. I think the Patriots will have a down season, kind of like I said with Pittsburgh, but New England's going to be a bigger surprise because everyone thinks, no, New England, they don't mess things up, they don't do this, they don't do that, blah, blah, blah. No, I think New England's going to have a down year. That defense is falling apart now. Dale Calvin is gone, Jamie Collins is gone, Patrick Chung and Dante Hightower have opted out. So it's a big mess there in New England. And I think that the smart thing to do is, just roll with it at this point. That's what you want to do. You don't want to tank. You want to roll with it. You're probably in 5 or 6 games with what you have. And then you go ahead and you have a top 10 pick in the draft. You have 13 draft picks. Maybe you call the Jaguars. Here's 4 picks for Trevor Lawrence for the top pick, whatever the case is. It's not out of the question, really. It's really just not out of the question. That's what I'm trying to say here is that New England and Trevor Lawrence, just don't count it out. It could definitely be a possibility. And not to mention, also, I want to bring this up. If the Patriots have 13 picks, they give 4 away for Trevor Lawrence to the Jaguars, who go over as the first pick. Well, I think it could possibly be Cincinnati. You still have 9 picks left. You have 9 picks left. Go get him some help. Go get Trevor Lawrence some help. You got to get some O-line help. You got to get him. Obviously, he definitely leads the receivers because you can't just rely on him with pardon the truck there. You can't just rely on him and Julian Edelman. Pretty much. You got to rely on more than that. You got to have more than that. So with those 9 picks, you got to get some help. You got to get some help on the defense. What ends up that Patrick Chung or Dante Hightower might up leaving New England at the end of the next season? They're opting up this year, but what if they're gone by next year? You gotta get Trevor Lawrence help. That's how the Patriots will continue to succeed. You need to get him help. That's why Brady left. He had no help, and he couldn't take it anymore. If you get Trevor Lawrence, you get him no help. It's not going to help your franchise, but Belichick or Robert Kraft. Keep that in mind. Now let's switch gears. Let's switch gears to Brady's new team, Tampa Bay. And Colin Cowherd talked about this, and I thought about it myself, and it's very interesting. So the Bucs have a very stacked roster. Obviously, they have Tom Brady, they have Chris Godwin, they have Mike Evans, they have the great defense, Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea's on that defense. What could Tampa Bay possibly be missing? And I thought to myself, well, they're kind of missing the run game. They don't have it. They don't have one. They need a run game. And then they went and got Shady McCoy. Yes, he only had 4 touchdowns in 2019. But Shady McCoy is going to be a great number 1 there in Tampa. And he's going to be a very key piece to what Tampa can do this year. And that is possibly get to the Super Bowl. Yes, I know there are a lot of great NFC teams. And, San Francisco, Seattle. Obviously, people are betting on Arizona. And a whole bunch of other different... a lot of people like the Eagles. Why, I don't know. But a lot of people like them. But I still think Tampa has a shot, especially with that defense. Shaq Barrett led the league in sacks last year. They were really talented. Again, last year they were a talented team. I think they finished with 7-9 last year, and that's because James Winston threw 30 picks. Just imagine if James Winston had thrown 30 picks. Perhaps they would have beat the Falcons first of all in the final game. They could have been 8-8, and then you play them another game, they would be 9-7 maybe. I don't remember the Bucs record off the top of my head, but what I'm saying is, Tampa Bay to Super Bowl, not a crazy idea. It'll be a tough road. I still think New Orleans wins the division, so Tampa might be a 7 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed, whatever the case is. But I could see them. I could see Tom Brady going into Seattle, going into San Francisco, or even hosting San Francisco or Seattle, or any other great team in the NFC. I could see them winning a playoff game against one of these teams, and who knows? Maybe they beat the Saints in the playoffs. I could definitely see them beating the Saints in the playoffs and getting to the Super Bowl some way, somehow. It's just not out of the question anymore. I didn't think of it before because I thought, the Saints are so dominant. They have such a great team. Michael Thomas is the best receiver in the NFL. But all Tampa was really missing was that run game. Tampa got that run game. And therefore, I'm not counting Tampa Bay out of the Super Bowl just yet. So there you have it. Very interesting stuff again. This is episode number 47 of the SCU Show. I'm your host, SCU. I do apologize for the camera issues. I do not have my tripod. I have 2 tripods. Remember when I did my show in my studio, I had one holding my iRig microphone, which I do reporting for, and then I had another one holding my camera. Well, the second one that held my camera before does not have the piece to hold my camera this time, and my first tripod is missing at my friend's house. I have yet to get it back. And therefore, we'll do today's show, this week's show, handheld, edition of the SCU Show. But I hope you're enjoying it. It's good. I like what's going on here. I think it's a pretty good show. And we'll end the show by talking about the AFC West, because that's our next preview in our division roundup. I've said this before on the show. The AFC West might be the best division in the NFL. That is the best division in the NFL. I don't think there's much question. You can argue about the NFC West. I will talk about the NFC West here in a few weeks. But the defending champions of Kansas City, they have everything coming back. The only thing they don't have coming back is an offensive lineman who they can replace easily, and Damien Williams, who scored 4 touchdowns in the regular season and then had a great postseason, and then obviously a great Super Bowl. He had a couple touchdowns and scored the game clincher. Still, I think, and they can replace him as well. They just got that rookie, Clyde something, out of LSU. So I think Kansas City, they're right there. They're good to go. Patrick Mahomes just got paid. Chris Jones just got paid on defense. They got Tyrann Mathieu. They have a great defense. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to be, I don't know if they're back in the Super Bowl, because obviously we'll see what happens with Baltimore. But them in Baltimore, the best 2 teams in the NFL. And Kansas City is going to be just fine. Everyone that complains about my hangover. I just don't see it. I really think Kansas City could win the Super Bowl again this year. Here's one that we talked about this last week. The Chargers have the best, and I don't care what anybody thinks. This is facts. The Chargers have the best roster in the NFL. There is no question about it. I mean, do you see that roster? The only thing they're missing is a quarterback. They have the best receiver, one of the best receivers in the NFL, Keenan Allen. They have Hunter Henry. They have Austin Eckler's a great running back who can catch out of the backfield. They have a great defense. Derwin James. I think Kenneth Murray, he's my defensive rookie of the year. He's going to be spectacular on that defense. We'll talk about this last week. Pro Football Talk had him at 21st. I didn't understand. I still don't understand how you have him at 21st. It just doesn't make sense. 21st. That's the best roster in the league. Tyrod Taylor is going to look like an MVP candidate based on what he has around him. Just based on that. Tyrod Taylor is going to have a great season with the team he has around him. And everyone's going to look like a fool when they say, especially for Football Talk, 21st. It just blows my mind that they said that. Another team, Denver. Everybody, including myself, is buying into the Broncos. And they should. See Drew Lock last year? He had a great season. He only played a couple games, but damn, is he good. And now he has a hope. And that was a bunch of nothings, Cortland's supposed to be the number 1 guy. Nothing. It was a crapshoot, pretty much. Now you have Jerry Jeudy, they got a guy at Penn State. You have Block's former tight end from Missouri. And plus, not to mention that defense, they have Von Miller, Bradley Chubb. They just got A.J. Bouye. Bet on Denver, everybody. Put your money on Denver. I'm telling you to do it right now. Put your money on the Broncos. That is going to be a special team this year. And they're going to make big noise in the postseason. Yes, they haven't going to the playoffs. I have 3 AFC West teams in the playoffs. Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos. And then there's the last team in the AFC West. A lot of people are I mean, it's exciting. Vegas has an NFL team. How exciting is that? Am I right? That is awesome news for Vegas. That is awesome news for the NFL. It's awesome news for everybody. But there's still... I don't want to say... I'll say they're rebuilding. I said they're rebuilding. That is not a team that's like, they're going to do great things right now. No. First of all, they're going to start Derek Carr week 1, most likely. I don't know who they play, but they'll start Derek Carr week 1, and they're going to lose. And they might lose week 2 and week 3. And they'll have a great sluggish start to the 2020 season. And then I'm hoping, eventually, because I've been hoping this for a long time, hoping that they start Marcus Mariota. That's when things are going to start picking up. Now, don't discredit anything the Raiders have done in the offseason. They did get one of the best receivers in Henry Ruggs, so that's going to be a nice addition to the team. And they did take a corner in the first round. Who, apparently, according to Mike Mayock, he was supposed to be a third. Not Mike Mayock. Todd McShay. He was supposed to be like a third-round pick. He was picked in the first, so obviously the Raiders saw something that nobody else did. It's just a wait-and-see situation with Vegas. We all know that they're going to finish last in the AFC West because the other 3 AFC West teams are going to the playoffs. So, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? And with that, we are done. We got through a great show. We have a little struggles, I apologize for the noise behind, obviously, again. I'm making do with what I have. Apologize for the camera issues. We'll hopefully have my tripod again next week. But for now, I want to wish my friends Danny and Amy happy birthdays. Obviously, Amy's birthday is August 21st, and our friend Danny, a.k.a. Danielle, her birthday was on August 1st. And this weekend, we celebrate. We're going down to Ocean City in 2 days, so I'm looking forward to that. By the time this podcast is out, I'll be out in Ocean City, having a ton, probably in the pouring rain, but we'll see what happens. That's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been episode number 47